and constant improvement. And honestly, it feels like this team pretty heavily pivots around the top lane to some extent. Kerberos has definitely been one of the real highlight players for this squad. And Shogun as well has had some pretty great highlight moments for himself. We are into draft though, so Azir and Cassiopeia are going to be the bans.
Funny thing is, I was literally just about to say Paris, for me, has been the player for Enclave, and his particular champion of choice has been Cassiopeia. Yep. I think that's a very sensible ban from MnM because he has popped off on Cassie, he's popped off on Vladimir as well, so I wouldn't expect to see maybe some target bans coming towards him. But yeah, I think Paris has been an excellent player for Enclave. Yeah,
the only maybe spanner I'd throw into the Enclave hype train is the fact that I feel like they've sort of played very similar things every time. They've played the Cassiopeia a lot, they've played the Cho'Gath top. They tend to like Munchies on Zac or these tanky junglers. And I think MnM has sort of sussed that out. They're banning away the Cassiopeia. I mean, I'm sure Paris has other champions, but he is going to have to play them now, and it might be a weakness.
No Zac ban though, so this could, yeah, there you go.
Well, that's one of them covered up anyway, so they'll be okay. Talk to me a little bit about this Olaf ban, because Olaf's personal favourite of mine, but it's something that, in my experience, when it's in the professional scene, it seems absolutely broken for a little while. Then as soon as it's not broken, it goes away again. I
mean, Olaf's very feast or famine because it's one of those champions where if you're strong enough to kill someone, to 1v1 someone, it's so hard to escape him. You can't CC him. He gets the axes so he can repeatedly slow. So when he is in a strong position, which is now, I think the main thing is the Predator Keystone works extremely well with him. You can just run anyone down, mow them over.
Actually, saw it in LCK, came out in the jungle quite a lot, and actually Scudzy is a jungler that will take Olaf and play with him, and we've seen a lot of that from Scudzy over the course of his career. So it's probably a ban that I'm assuming has come through from scrims or something. You've had some sort of rumors that Scudzy's been playing Olaf again now that he's got strong, and maybe that's, you know, you don't want to gift it over to him. Yep. So
certainly wouldn't surprise me. We are going to see Orianna locked in as well as that Varus. Now, this is patch 8.4, not 8.5. This is not on the live server. This is Tournament Realms. So the Rageblade Varus still very, very much a big deal down in that bottom lane.
Interesting that they'd lock the Orianna in so early here, maybe to deny the Orianna-Zac combo, which is a combo that's kind of stood the test of time, but hasn't really been prioritized when you've had Zac in a lot of cases. But Orianna has kind of moved her way back into the meta over the last couple of patches. It's just very interesting that they take it so early on in this draft. What do you make of that, Orcs?
It's an interesting move. It sort of puts Paris in a position he either secures his mid laner here to get a good matchup, or if he leaves it later, they're going to be able to pinch his pool even more so. And we've already had 3 mid laners banned out. And if they are going towards his Alistar, that puts Paris in a situation where if his champion pool is getting stretched, he might be struggling.
So you ban Vlad maybe in the next rotation and then something else?
Vlad would be a good ban. Azir's already banned away.
Azir's banned away, so yes.
It's really sort of stretching at this point. There are a lot of fringe picks with mid, but the top tier picks have been taken off the table.
Do you feel like you take jungler now for MnM because they might pinch the jungler pool at this point?
I think I mean, the alternative is take something like Braum, or, I mean, the Janna work to disengage his Zac. It does mean that Scudzy, again, I mean, both teams are going to be pinching pools here. Scudzy's going to struggle to have a jungle he's comfortable on, and Paris might be struggling with terms of mid laners. But this can work really well, though, if a team has like a pocket pick.
The Elise, the Scudzy Elise is going to come back out.
Camille is going to be the ban coming out here from MnM, so kind of focusing towards that top lane now, maybe trying to stop Kerberos in his tracks as opposed to...
Interesting ban strategy, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Camille ban in an isolated situation is good, but I feel like if you're picking away the Orianna, I would want to be pinching Paris' pool. So maybe they'll do out the second ban, or maybe they really see Kerberos as a threat, which, I mean, he has been in the past few weeks.
And just as we said, because there's no jungle pick coming from MnM, you are starting to see some of those other junglers that are at the top end tiers getting banned away now, Jarvan being one of them.
Particularly Jarvan's extremely effective against Sivir, doesn't have a dash, so if you get locked in, doesn't matter how fast you're moving from the ult, you are trapped. Do see the Talia ban, I think that makes sense. I do believe Paris has played it in the season, and it can just make a lot of impact on the rest of the map.
Yeah, also just a very safe pickup in that mid lane as well. Something that we see a lot of mid lane is very comfortable to just fall onto that pick. Similar to Orianna in that way, honestly. But we are going to see the Warwick banned away as the final ban here. So I'm curious to see where Scudzy goes for jungle picks here in terms of what's still available, because there have been a lot of bans focused on that.
Absolutely. I mean, Warwick might have been it. That might be in the pocket fringe pick that MnM relying on. So they're in a tricky position here. I think it's smart because they know Enclave aren't going to take a jungler. They've already got theirs. So they deny the Cho'Gath from Kerberos, which not just this season, but last season as well. In the Prem finals, he played like 3 or 4 games of it. Very comfortable on that champion.
Are we finally going to see the Kerberos Kale?
It could come through. That is a good point. You can never quite ban out Kerberos. He loves a great many picks, so we'll have to see here. But it looks like Corki is going to be locked in here for Paris, which is actually something we've seen Tivity play quite a lot. So I'm kind of interested to see how that's going to pan out with Tivity playing against one of the picks we've kind of known him for.
And Corki's super safe as well, even versus an Oriana. You know, it's literally just a safe farm lane for the most part. Post level 6, you have range advantage on her. Oh, wow. Here we go.
We sort of forgot about Urgot a little bit there, didn't we? And also Gnar exists.
Yeah, Gnar is also up and available, but Kerberos hasn't played as much Gnar compared to the other top laners. But this is more Kerberos' style, I think, the Urgot coming through. It also means you can shove the Cho'Gath in really early, and yeah, it's just a bit of a nuisance for Cho'Gath to deal with in the top lane. Unless this is Scudzy pulling out a massive curveball and going Cho'Gath jungle.
I mean, yeah, it's possible. It would be an interesting pick. Really got to wonder what you would pick if it wasn't the Cho'Gath.
No, that's a bit more solo queue oriented, but it still works.
I mean, I think particularly in this meta with the removal of Tracker's Knife, someone like Kayn, it's so hard to pin him down. If you don't see where he is, you can come over a wall. He has so much mobility. And the thing is, he's against these tanks. Alistair, obviously very tanky, as is Zac. They got more of a bruiser, but still, if you get the red form, you have that CC, and then your ult can heal you a substantial amount. It's hard to pin down.
Yeah, and obviously he doesn't offer as much like CC and things as Zac does, but when you look at the lanes he's playing with, everyone else does offer CC. So those ganks can still work out with a more damage-focused jungler in those kind of situations. So maybe this will be something that can work out for MnM. How are we feeling about the compositions overall then, gentlemen? What are the win conditions you're going to be looking at in this game?
Well, I think that Enclave really has a great sort of teamfight comp going later on. They want some items on Frappy, they want some items on Paris. They can get a lead top lane. That's their sort of winning lane. On the other side of MnM, they're going to have pressure mid, and the Oriana will shove the Corki in, and a Janna Varus will obviously shove in bot as well. So they just want Scudzy to take over the game, get his red form, his darker form as soon as possible, and just be a massive threat and snowball from there.
Okay, so really try and focus on the early game. Maybe pray for some nice dragons in the early game as well to take advantage of that.
I think there's some multiple win conditions coming out from Enclave. Double teleport means they can function in a 1-3-1 very effectively. They can also, like Orc said, go with the Sivir, and Sivir makes a teamfight composition by herself in a lot of ways. You had the Corki there. We've seen what a Corki can do in teamfights too. So they have multiple win conditions on Enclave. I'm looking at MnM's composition and I'm like, I don't really see how it functions together properly. Like, there's no real cohesive unit with what MnM have brought to the table. Maybe full team fight because you've got the Oriana there with the Varus, maybe combo that with the Cho'Gath, but you're going to get torn apart by a 1-3-1 if they get ahead in their solo lanes. So that's the worry I have for MnM. If they lose top lane, if they lose mid lane, they're going to get torn apart in the mid game.
We'll have to see if those solo laners are going to be able to hold their own in this matchup. And I'm curious to see how this jungle matchup goes as well. Zac versus Kayn. It's not a matchup I can say I've seen a whole lot of times individually. And the two junglers, very different play styles. So it's going to be interesting to see how they clash, especially during this early game. As you rightly mentioned, Kayn going to need to snowball during the early game.
Yeah, and I think because it's not just getting the gold and getting the kills, which are great for Kayn, but the sooner he gets his Dark Form, the more useful he's going to be. Especially, I mean, as you said, Zac already has more CC than him, but you need that knock-up if you're going to even hope to contest his impact in a team fight. So Scudzy needs to be ganking, he needs to be invading, he needs to be making this Kayn pick work.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I have to...
but Zac's really, really weak in the early jungle. So, you know, if you can find an in with the lack of vision now, if you can find that aggressive move into the jungle, we saw Casual rip apart a Zac on that Sejuani and really put pressure on Taxa when they've had the XL Diabolus matchup. So maybe if we see Scudzy do something similar there, put pressure on Zac, start to get his lanes ahead as well, and that might be a good option for them to try and get some sort of snowball in the early game.
All right, we will have to see. Certainly hope that MnM are going to be able to get something going for themselves in this early game, because let's not forget, this is an incredibly important game for MnM. They're going to be desperately hoping for a victory if they want to make it to playoffs. They are currently at the bottom of their group, so a lot is on their shoulders, and the two games that we'll be seeing from them this weekend, or today basically, it's not the weekend, it's Monday, not Sunday. It's usually on Sunday. But these results are actually going to be incredibly important moving forward. So do we feel like that could affect these MnM players coming into this game? Because a lot of pressure on each of their shoulders.
Yeah, I mean, pressure's always going to affect how you play. Some players rise to it, some players get nervous and crack, and it's one of those situations where they know how much is riding on this game. The fortunate thing is, so does Enclave. They're both fighting to get this victory and come out on top.
Yeah, absolutely. Searching for the wins right here. It's time to jump on into the game. Thank you very much, Scoundrel, for joining us for the pre-show. But it is going to be myself and Orcs taking the action away as we jump onto Summoner's Rift. It's Enclave versus MnM. MnM fighting for the right to play in the Premiership right now.
Yeah, and both teams is going for Fairly standard start, just covering all entrances. I mean, that's the thing I'm going to be looking for, is what Scudzy does with this early game, because he really needs to make this game pick work.
Yeah.
And the game, I mean, he's rising up to the pressure. We said before there's a pressure on this, but he's clearly said, I'm confident in this pick. You can give it to me, the band away all these other champions, I'm fine with that. I'm going to carry the game.
Yeah, it feels like that Kane pick has kind of almost, it's like the draft coming into fruition, right? We saw so many junglers band away during the draft. We saw a lot of focus on Scudzy, and it feels almost like they wanted to go for something like this Kane. We'll have to see. This could just be maybe the backup pick as opposed to a planned out thing. And I think the next few minutes of gameplay may answer whether that was the case.
Yeah, it's always a good show, sort of, whether Scudzy just, you know, tries to farm, whether he just sort of tries to get his grips on the champ, or you can see if he really has a clear idea why they picked it, what he's going to do. And he's going to see some trading in the mid lane. Nothing too interesting. Yeah,
we'll have to see how Scudzy's going to do there, but let's talk a little bit about these lane matchups. Now, during the draft, you did mention beforehand that Urgot typically has a winning lane going up against that Cho'Gath. How do you feel that lane plays out? What is it about Urgot that gives him the advantage in that matchup?
I think it's just a range advantage. I mean, Cho'Gath's not going to struggle that much until later on. Urgot's massive spike is when he gets Black Cleaver. Obviously, the armor shred just destroys a Cho'Gath. But even before then, the range advantage is always going to sit him nicely, which Enclave need to capitalize on, because as you can see here, bot lane, they're struggling. Double ranged into ranged melee is never going to go that well. And they're being punished for it because Alice is level 1, very weak, can't combo.
Yeah. Absolutely, and interestingly, we do have a Mountain Drake to start things off. So we were mentioning how MnM, they need to control things during this early game. They need to make things happen early. A Mountain Drake is a great way to snowball during the early game. Sets you up. It's one of the better Drakes, definitely one of the more preferred Drakes, and an objective for them to take there.
Yeah, I've seen Scudzy going for an invade.
Here we go, Scudzy looking for the 1v1, or maybe just looking for a bird for himself here. Monkeys will take a couple of love taps here. I don't think he'll be in too much trouble with his passive. Will flash away in the end. Taking a good chunk of damage. And honestly, just taking a flash in that situation, you're going to be more than happy with that trade.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not just a flash, but now Scudzy's got control of the red side jungle. Munchkis has to recall, and he gets an extra red buff as a reward. And this is what we're going to see.
Sorry, I hadn't even realized he hadn't taken his red buff yet, so that's even bigger than I thought it was. Only Angel took a huge chunk of damage there in top lane as well.
Yeah, and I mean, Only Angel, he just has to survive this. He's going to be a big tank in team fights. That's how Cho'Gath works. He has actually got a CS lead top lane, so maybe Kerberos focusing more on trading than getting a CS.
Yeah, it can happen sometimes. We'll have to see how that top lane is going to pan out, but definitely a great start for MnM in that jungle. And bottom lane doing pretty well as well. Already building up a 7 CS lead on that Varus versus the Sivir. But here we go. Shogun actually getting a nice little combo onto Camillus. He escapes with his life though, and Shogun might have been caught out a little bit too far here. He's going to go down first blood through onto Jokerism.
Yeah, really great play from Scudzy. He's exactly where he needs to be. I mean, I think they would have gotten away being in a summoner had they not gone in, but Shogun, you can't make a play like that when you don't know where the enemy jungler is. You need the information first. Goes aggressive and gets punished for it.
Absolutely. We'll have to see how that continues to pan out, but over here in the top lane, everyone just farming away. Fantastic way to start things off, though. It's exactly what we were talking about during draft. MnM need to snowball in the early game, and getting a kill onto a Varus early on, especially if he's going towards that Rage Blade, it's such a massive power spike that any injection of gold in that bottom lane is going to go a long way. Tivity, though, will get knocked up here. Monkeys wants to answer the pressure from Scudzy, wants to get a kill of his own, but it looks like they are just going to get a heal out of this one.
Yeah, I mean, Tivity may be overextended a bit, but good read, doesn't burn his flash. Obviously, you need your flashes in a mobile mid lane against a Zac. Fine with just burning the heal here, and gets away without too much trouble.
Yeah, I think realizing he's not going to go down, Corki doesn't really have that much damage early on in the game before you get things like a Sheen or whichever route you decide to go with. He's definitely something that spikes very heavily with items, though. So Tivity reading that one nicely, not using that flash, as you say. And sorry, go on.
Looking at the items coming in bot lane, Frappy gone for a very scaling build, opting for that coal. Obviously couldn't afford the BF sword, but it's going to mean a massive power drop here. Jokerism's already picked up a pickaxe and a dagger. I mean, they were losing trades before, this is just going to get worse. Yeah,
this is going to start to get a little bit dicey, quite honestly, because that pickaxe, you know, pickaxe isn't the ideal back. You obviously want to get a BF sword usually on AD carries, but when you go into a Rage Blade, pickaxe is pretty much the biggest power spike you can get on that first recall. And actually, that kind of means, in a lot of situations, you can recall a little bit earlier than those classic crit AD carries, because they want that BF sword. You need 500 less gold when you go on that recall.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, getting ahead in gold for Joker was huge, not just because, obviously, it's nice to have an AD carry who's ahead, but there's a bit of a power trough. After you get the pickaxe and the recurve bow, your next item's blasting one doesn't really do anything for you. But if you can get through that by getting this gold advantage, he has a 10 CS lead, he has this kill, you get straight to the Rage Blade, and he'll really start to hurt anyone who comes near him.
Yeah, that scaling damage coming out from the Rage Blade just so strong, especially in a slightly extended engage. But so far, let's take another look at this top lane, because, you know, we were kind of expecting that this would be all about Kerberos here, but so far, pretty significant CS lead. Now, there are a lot of minions under that turret, so that will shrink a little bit, but Only Angel, has been a phenomenal job in this 1v1.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a sustain from Cho'Gath doing really well. I think Kerberos overtraded a bit. You can see he has gone for a recall. And I think that's a difficult... I mean, yes, he has the range advantage over Cho'Gath now, but he really starts to punish the matchup when he has a Black Cleaver. And because he's invested into this Ninja Tabby, give him a bit of safety, he's not going to be able to bully this Cho'Gath out quite yet, especially when he's picking up armor now.
So it certainly does mean that MnM, without that sort of losing top lane in inverted commas, that does mean that early game pressure for MnM should be looking pretty fantastic. Kerberos might just be in a bit of trouble here. Only Angel won't land the knock-up here. But Kerberos, very, very tanky. I don't think he minds this 2v1 all too much. Doing massive amounts of damage. Monkeys is on his way as well. This could be a turnaround. Double knock-up coming on through. Kerberos now going to be trying to find the damage as Scudzy jumps on into his ult form himself. Very low. Kerberos did use his ultimate there, but didn't actually find the kill. Monk is just about surviving with his life there. Goes into his cell division. Scudzy's coming back in. What an extended engage we have on our hands. Scudzy wants this kill, and he will be able to find it in the end. The turret shot doesn't come through. Kerberos needs to answer for this one. Needs to find the kill, but Scudzy's dodging away from this one, just about trying to escape, but he's got tier 2 boots already for Urgot. Scudzy's in trouble. There's the kill for Kerberos.
Yeah, a bit of an overstep from MnM there. Got punished by the Zac. Did get the kill in return, but I mean, you don't want to be trading too much on Kayn at this point. I mean, yes, it does help him get his form, but you know, your Cho'Gath was doing great there, and you've now given a kill over to Kerberos on the Urgot. Not something you want to do. But I mean, Scudzy's finished his warrior. But
oh, here we go. Big ultimate coming down onto Frappy there, but actually not going to be able to do too much with that. They get a bit of damage, but it's a pretty big ultimate just to burn for a harass.
Yeah, but I mean, they know they're not under too much threat. They have pressure on the lane. They're going to get vision control. Zac struggles to gank Janna, so I think they're okay with throwing it out just to get this pressure, because you can see they're now 16 CS ahead, which doesn't sound like a ton, but at this point in the game, it's pretty significant.
All right, so just using it to kind of assert their dominance in that lane. I like to see it coming on out, and using that, especially just using that spike that they had from the pickaxe as well, making sure that they're getting those trades in and getting as much damage down as they can while they can.
Yeah, and you can see Munchkis wasted some time there, was seen on the ward, wasn't able to get anything up, and you can see Scudzy's running away with a CS lead now. Change wasn't too long ago where they made camps all equal to, I think, 4 CS. So by that metric, Scudzy's maybe 6 camps ahead here, which is huge. And you can see in the gold lead, they're almost 2,000 ahead already. And a lot of that's going to be off Scudzy.
Yeah, absolutely. Scudzy is making this Kayn work for himself. Look at that. Almost 1,000 gold lead individually against his opponent there. Monk is really falling behind on this Zac. And now, obviously, Zac doesn't have the strongest early game in the world. I don't want to go too hard on Munchkin. Oh, that is unfortunate for Monkeys right there. He's going to be followed through with the Umbral Trespass, and now Paris has to flash away from the Shockwave. Scudzy is in charge of this early game.
Yeah, and that Zac just looks so squishy, and I guess that's what happens when you haven't finished your jungle item. And I mean, we said this was the win condition. You need this Kayn to do work and get ahead, and he has been. Apart from the little misstep top lane where he was punished, but he's now going to secure this Mountain Drake, most likely, unless it's contested.
The thing is, even that misstep top where they gave a kill over to Kerberos, it was still a 1-for-1 trade. Scudzy still got a kill for himself as well. So even that, even though you set up Kerberos a little bit, it's still not the end of the world for you, right? Especially considering Only Angel has such a CS lead as well. They're feeling pretty great right now.
Yeah, and I think the thing that's unique about Kayn is obviously there's that sort of mini game to get your forms. any trading is good because it means you're getting more stacks because you're hitting enemy champions, you're getting close to that darkened form. Assuming Scudzy goes, I mean, he's so snowbally here, he could potentially even go into the assassin form. I'm not sure if that's the name, but I mean, he was putting out so much damage there, he could do, I mean, insane amounts if he went towards that.
Yeah, I mean, he's the Rift is his oyster right now, especially with a CS lead like that. He is feeling fantastic. I'd love to see him maybe focus a little bit on this mid lane. Obviously, Paris not going to be the easiest to gank on that Corki, especially if he ends up with a package in his pocket, but certainly you've already got bottom lane ahead a little bit. Only Angel is doing a fantastic job on this Cho'Gath, so maybe the mid lane is the place to try and force a lead, maybe just force pressure.
I mean, I think it helped Tivity out, but I don't think it'd do too much. I think my point of view is that he should head towards bot lane and look to get a kill and turn that into a tower, because yes, they have got a significant gold lead now, which is great, but you want to start securing these objectives and getting those leads, and you know, this is a perfect time to do it. Varus has just picked up his completed Rage Blade. He is extremely strong, and now is when you want to force a fight, because even if Zac turns up there, you'll be able to turn around and just destroy them.
We'll see where he does choose to focus. He is on the top side of the map right now, maybe looking towards this Herald, trying to clear vision perhaps, but doesn't actually have that sweeper just yet. Only Angel going to be joining him, and I think they just wanted to try and bully Monkeys as much as humanly possible. They might have just found him as well. Monkeys will be able to walk away from this one. Oh, I would certainly hope so, but the blue buff has just spawned, and this could be a steal coming on through if they can keep this pressure up. And Only Angel, he's got his feast available. They can just kind of smite this one away.
Yeah, you can see MnM playing a bit wary. They know Shogun's missing, and I mean, Scudzy is very strong, but he will die quickly if he's CC'd.
Yeah, very true. And obviously, Corki, he's now got the Sheen in his pocket, so his damage is not something to underestimate, even this early on into the game. So, smart play to play out a little bit defensive, but Scudzy, he wants this fight regardless. Kerberos is going to be the target, but I think they've decided that going under tower, probably not the wisest move.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I like to see. Scudzy is actually playing fairly respectful there. He knows the Zac was in the area, doesn't go too far ahead, because that's the thing. As much as they're in a great position now, a throw would be devastating for MnM, because Enclave has such a great scaling comp. They need to keep the snowball going. And the focus needs to be either you look bot lane for a tower, or you look top lane for the Rift Herald, potentially the tower there.
Yeah.
Snowball ahead.
I mean, that's the other side of the coin. We've talked a lot about what MnM need to do, but actually Enclave, when we get towards that late game, they are going to look pretty scary themselves. And Zac, yes, he is behind right now, but once you get a couple of items, it's not really so much that you need an individual lead on Zac. You just need to be able to engage, and you can do that whether you're ahead or not. So definitely, I mean, the score is only 3-1. There's only a 2,000 gold lead, so it's definitely not the end of the world for Enclave. They can certainly come back into the game at this stage.
Yeah, I think the key thing for Enclave now is just spot where the pressure is being applied. You saw it there. They did it very well. MnM went for the blue buff. They completely denied it. They had the numbers there. They just need to keep doing that, matching the pressure, because the longer these lanes go on, the better it is for them.
Oh, good. He wants to go in. He is going to be around the right area as Camilius. He's just going to blast his ult to stop Monkeys. There's an ult onto Shogun as well. But here we go. The counter engage. Scudzy gets a slow onto a couple of them. Umbral Trespass. Not really going to do all too much. Enclave walk away with this one pretty comfortably in the end.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good play from Enclave. They got the flash from both of the enemy bot lane. I feel like Joe and Camilius may not have had the best communication with Scudzy there. Both of them flashing out very quickly meant that Enclave didn't really overcommit. I feel like they could have baited them in a bit more, but we'll see a play mid.
Kerberos may be overextending slightly on this one. The knock-up not quite going to land from Only Angel, though. We saw this earlier as well. Kerberos is like, oh, 1v2, yeah, let's go, mate. He's not afraid on that Urgot. And now actually looking for Only Angel as well. Looking to push this minion wave under the turret. Tivity just going to be heading back to base.
Yeah, and it just seems like they lack the damage for this Urgot. I mean, he's on his Black Cleaver spike now. Very strong and just shreds through anyone who comes near it. Scudzy, as we said before, is strong, has a lot of damage, but isn't the tankiest at this point. Has picked up his Phage, tends to go towards a Black Cleaver, give him a bit more bulk, and most likely going towards the Darken build when he gets enough stacks.
Yeah, he's going to start to look scary when he gets towards either of those forms, basically, but certainly for now, you're absolutely right. If he does get caught out, he is in a lot of trouble himself. He is not the tankiest member in the world, but Kerberos just going to be shoving out top. That CS lead that we were talking about before in the top lane has diminished somewhat. And in fact, across the board, CS lead's not too significant anywhere except for that jungle. Here we go, knock-up coming on through. Shogun gets that one. There's a knockback as well, and the ultimate onto Camilius. Beautifully played by Enclave, but Scudzy is here. This could be turned, perhaps. We did see Tivity slowly moving down, but he wasn't going to be quick enough, and they decide that they're just going to cut their losses at the one loss.
Yeah, great play from Enclave. You burnt the flashes before, Janna ult was still down, and they just re-engage, make the play. And, I mean, this isn't looking great for MnM. That 2k gold lead's now just over 500, and we said they need a snowball this early game, and they haven't been.
They certainly have not. Only Angel starting to take a good chunk of damage. Kerberos isn't very much winning this matchup right now. This is the point at which it starts to happen. As we said, Jokerism, though, has been found. Monkeys, he officially loves the bot lane. He's been here solidly for the last 3 minutes. Scudzy wants to answer, but Monkeys, just a couple of minutes ago, he was 0-2-0. Now he's really starting to have an impact on the game. Yeah,
and Scudzy just looks a bit lost. He turns up after one of his bot laners has already died, isn't able to offer much. It's just sort of hanging in the area, and Enclave doing great to sort of get back into this game. Now it's 3-3 and just under their gold, almost tied.
Kerberos right now, just walking under, happy to take a turret shot for an auto attack so long as he can keep his stacks up there. But we are going to see the Dragons started up by MnM once again. They do still have an advantage here in the early game, even if it was only minuscule in terms of gold. They are going to be able to get themselves a second Drake just on the recall tempo right there. So nice stuff from them to keep things moving in the early game at least.
Yeah, and I think that's important because obviously we've said Enclave had this great scale and composition. MnM know this, and they have to secure everything they can in the early game. And these Dragons are an extra win condition. Elder Drake obviously buffed on 8.4. The burn is devastating. Yeah. Even if Enclave outscale, if MnM get a few Dragons behind them and get this Elder, they'll still be able to win team fights however late in the game it gets.
Yeah, especially if it gets to sort of the hyper late game where, like you said, the scaling comp's great for Enclave, but that second Elder Drake, if you get 2 Elder Drakes, then it
insane.
It doesn't matter what your composition is. Yeah. That's just game over right there. Here you go, Tivity in the mid lane though, just consistently shoving on up. So far the mid lane pretty much going exactly as you would expect. Corki versus Orianna, 0-0-0 across the board, just farming up a Storm, trying to hit 200 before that 20-minute mark. But that's exactly what you expect, and it means that both of these guys can just scale up because both of them very item reliant. They want to just be grabbing those items.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Tivity's got priority, which always helps his team out, but Corki's fine just farming up.
There we go, knock-up coming through from Scudzy. Don't do too much. Oh, nice little dodge away from the knock-up as well.
Something to note is Kane has picked up his Darken form, gets the knock-up on his W.
Oh, as soon as I say that it's a passive mid lane, here we go. The bottom lane is going to be where the action's at. Jokerism going to be stunned up here. That's going to be Frappy grabbing a kill. Enclave, they've decided that they want to be the ones in charge of this game.
Well, I mean, huge mistake. That is not what you want to see. I mean, yes, Zach came before, and not seen a play here.
Here we go. Urgot has been knocked up. Kerberos, he's going to be struggling in this one. He's done a couple of 2v1s this game, but no longer, unfortunately. That is going to be Herald now going the way of MnM. But in the meantime, bot lane tower was taken.
Yeah, and it's not what you want to see for the side of MnM. I mean, yes, Monk has made some good ganks bot lane. Understandably, MnM's bot lane ended up dying. But in that situation, it was a 2v2. I mean, with a Janna, you should be in a position where you can disengage. Shogun got a good engage, and they're rewarded with not just a kill, but a tower as well. And MnM have to pick up the Rift Herald in return, but that's not the best trade. Yes, the Rift Herald can lead to you getting a tower, but Enclave already picked one up, and they got the First Blood as well, which is a huge bonus.
Yeah, I feel like we're starting to get to the point in the game where if these kill advantages, if individual advantages on the side of MnM don't start to be abused, they're going to stop mattering altogether. And we're going to end up in a point where we're getting towards team fights, we're getting items in pockets, and that's when Enclave really start to come into their own, especially if Shogun and Monkeys can get those knockups in the fights. Jokerism just stands still to dodge everything right there. Will flash away eventually. And now he's going back in. Takes a combo to the face, but he knows he has his heal available. Shogun now going to be the target, but Scudzy actually doesn't have much HP to work with. He could be in trouble himself. Monkey's jumping forward. Frappy wants a double kill for himself. He might even find a triple. Here he goes. Camilius drops, and it's a triple coming through for Frappy.
What a play from Frappy. Caught Jokerism just with that Boomerang Blade and end up finishing him off. And then this Sivir, I mean, before was sitting on 2 kills, had this 2-item spike, which is huge. Now just picked up another 3. 5 kills, Sivir. Going to be able to base and probably pick up a BF sword, just take another tower. And I mean, we said Enclave have a late game comp. It seems like it's late game already.
Yeah. When you've got a 5-0-1 Sivir at 20 minutes into the game, you're feeling pretty good. And now, I mean, I was saying before this game that, you know, Kerberos was one of the guys to watch out for, but apparently it's Frappy because he is absolutely blowing up right now. 40 CS lead as well to boot. He is feeling fantastic.
Yeah, and I mean, it's difficult for MnM at this point. I mean, obviously the game's not done, but this is not what you want to see now. 4K goal behind. Something needs to be done about this Sivir. Either you need to fight when she's not there, which is difficult because she's so fast with the ult, or you need to just burst it instantly. Get an Orianna shockwave on it, hope her spell shield's down, or that she misuses it.
And doesn't have flash.
Yeah, I mean...
There's a lot of conditions to check to find this situation.
There are components that they can use to sort of take her out. I mean, Only Angel can do a lot of damage if you choke athletes. But you can see actually Frappy's heading towards a Merc Scimitar, I think, with the pickaxe and the Vamp Scepter, which I think is a smart decision because that's the only way you really die. You're already so strong, invest in some safety, and then you can just keep doing the damage. I mean, if you look at the item difference now, we said this Ginsu's power spike was huge, but MnM just haven't used it, and they're still sitting on it. They've got a recurve bow, but that's about it, whereas Frappy has gone from just having the Essence Reaver to now the Essence Reaver, the Phantom Dancer, and more components.
Yeah, the lead in the bottom lane is quite frankly obscene at this stage, but we mentioned before that, oh actually we've got a fight on our hands. Scudsy's been caught out. This is what we said. Yes, he has damage, but he is so damn squishy. He will be taken out here. Actually managed to survive for a little bit, but in the meantime, Jokerism's found a kill for himself in the backline. Scudsy will go down to Frappy, so it's a 1-for-1. A jungler for mid laner. That's a pretty good trade for MnM, and now Shogun gets feasted alive. Monkeys and Frappy, they're just going to have to retreat from this one.
You know, it looked like it could have been a bad situation for MnM there, but, you know, as much as Scudsy might be a bit squishy, he is very slippery still. And yes, he did get picked up at the end, but in return, Paris overstepped a bit with his package, got punished by the 3-man of Tividi, Jokers, and Camilius. Hard to deal with that Varus with all the shielding.
Yeah, we've got a replay of that fight as well, so we can see how Scudsy actually managed to get away for a little bit.
Yeah, and you can see that huge crit from Paris came on a Jokerism that sort of gave him the hope that he could finish the fight. Ult comes from Janet to give the shield in, and then a shield from Orianna as well. Keeps him alive, and then just Cho'Gath he ignores Alistar's ult and eats through him.
Here we go, another dragon going down, this time though for Enclave. So evening up in terms of mountain drakes, it's only the ocean in terms of drakes that's in favor of MnM. But when you take a look at the gold, now it's 4,000 in favor of Enclave. They have started to really put their foot down now. They're definitely feeling fantastic. And look at the gold lead between the two AD carries. 3,500 individually. That is unbelievable right there.
And it's such an unfortunate situation because it's only going to get worse. Even if Varus catches up, he's now in his 2-item spike. He's not going to get in a better situation here. Once Frappy gets the Infinity Edge, the 3rd crit item, he's just going to devastate anyone who comes near him. And, well, seen a bit of an aggressive trade here.
Yeah, here we go. Only Angel will take a good chunk of damage. Neither of these guys does too much to the other. They're both very tanky, but certainly a very good trade for Kerberos right there.
Seeing the double pen items come out from Kerberos here has the Mortal Reminder, not only to reduce the healing, but also a lot of armor pen, and that comes from the Black Leaf as well. And you can see Only Angel struggling a bit here, but I mean, he's picked up a Warmog's, not going to be an issue. You can see he's already healed back up to full HP.
Yeah. That's kind of the thing, isn't it? It's like, oh, you're going to build armor pen? Well, I'll just never build armor.
Yeah.
your items aren't even valuable. But
I mean, when you have 4,000, 5,000 health, does it really matter?
Yeah. I just have bigger numbers instead. It's probably fine. And obviously that Warmog's passive just going to heal them up. So long as the trades don't go too extended, so long as he can have himself a little gap between them, he's going to be doing okay.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, is you got to watch out for that Ergot ult, because if you do get too low, you know, it'll drag you in, cut you out. But I think Only Angel knows how to play respectfully, but that's not what they need. They need to make something happen because Jokerism's struggling. And you can see Frappy only invested in the Vamp Scepter here, but has finished his Infinity Edge. And oh my god, those crits are going to be huge.
Yeah, that is a scary Sivir right now. And Sivir's not exactly a carry that you usually know for pulling out a massive lead early on in the game. This is Siva's the kind of carry that you pick up because you want, well, I mean, historically, he's known as the Scuttle Crab, right? You just pick him for the ultimate, for the team fights, but that is not what we're seeing before our eyes right here. Yeah, and I think in normal situations, you'd expect the Siva to pick up more kills, more gold later in the game when she's more useful in team fights. But when you have a situation like this, she's snowballed so far ahead. It's just so difficult to deal with. I mean, the spells, she has both the summoners, she has a spell shield as well. It really begs the question, how are MnM going to deal with her? We'll have to find out over the next few minutes of the game. 5,000 is the gold lead right now for Enclave, as a lot of pings go towards this Baron. They've seen people towards the bottom side of the map. They saw activity recalled to base, and there is no vision of this whatsoever for MnM. This could well be a free objective for Enclave. Scudzy is arriving, but it's all too late, and that is a nice smite from Monkeys and a huge pickup for Enclave. Yeah, I mean, things are bad for MnM before. They are very dire here. Baron going down extremely fast. 1 Mountain Drake and then 2 Marksmen, the Corki and the Siva shredding through it. And MnM were just too slow to call up on it. And now the game is completely in Enclave's hand. They have a banner command on the Alistair. Know that they're going to buff that minion up. I'm struggling to see what MnM can do. I think forcing a fight is the only option. As soon as possible, they have to force a fight, hopefully one-shot the Siva, and just clear all the Baron buffs. That is their win condition from here. Can we just talk about the spectator bug with Siva? Like, every game that you see Siva, she does this like little dancey walk thing. She can't walk properly. It's so bizarre. Look, he like bounces back and forth and just like kind of skips along. It's for some reason it exists. I find it hilarious every time. I think that might just be Frappy here for style points. Showing some moves on the Rift. I've seen it quite a few times. I'm pretty sure it's I'm not sure it's intended. Anyway. Yeah, so far, if the lead for Enclave wasn't good enough yet, now with a Baron in their back pocket, they've gone to base, they've reset, they've bought some items, now with a banner command on that minion, that is going to be shredding through towers, and it's so easy for them to push with the Siva as well. Ultimate comes out, look at the headbutt onto Scudzy, denies any kind of engage from MnM. Fantastic stuff. They are going to be able to clear out this minion though, and that isn't a huge thing for them. Look how hard it is for them to deal with though. I mean, that's the issue, is that normally your AD carry has the AD damage to get rid of the minion, but your Varus has a Ginsu's and a Wit's End, so he's doing a lot of magic damage as well. It's so bad for MnM's comp to be going against this bannered minion, if you will. Minion, yeah. There we go, Kerberos and Only Angel trading, but in the meantime, the mid lane turret does go down. The siege continues. Only Angel can keep going for those trades, but Frappy now trying to make things happen. So they're going to be heading towards the bottom side of the map now. Shogun doesn't quite find his combo. Actually has to use his ultimate just to make sure that he's not going to go down himself. Yeah, good flash from Only Angel, keep safe there, but ends up losing the turret. Yeah, and we're seeing very rapidly Enclave now in control of the map, just taking out these towers one by one. This is not a slow, gradual choke out with a Baron. They are forcing these towers, and very comfortably as well. Yeah, absolutely. And it's, I mean, we saw before, Scudzy had the right idea to go for an engage on the Siva. 1 crit from the Siva half HP'd him. And yes, he's not the tankiest member, but he does have Ninja Tabby. He has some extra HP from the Black Cleaver, and he just gets absolutely murdered. It's so difficult to find any window. Look at this, Enclave moving around wherever the minion wave is, that is where they're going to be as well. But MnM, they want to try and force the fight. It's not going to happen. Siva ultimate comes on through, and everybody from Enclave walks away with their lives. Yeah, and we now have an Infernal Drake coming up. If things couldn't get worse for MnM, yeah, well, you know, this is it. Considering the kill count, you would, if you just looked at the kill count in isolation, you'd be like, oh yeah, this is a pretty close game. But then when you take a look at the gold, you're like, 30 minutes in, 11,000 gold lead, now an Infernal Drake as well. Enclave are on cloud 9, and they have an open inhibitor in that mid lane. Yeah, and I think the weirdest thing is that you're looking where the gold lead is, and you're looking at that Siva. Yeah. I mean, if you had to pick anyone on that team, 4 tier 3 items. Kills. Yeah, I mean, I'd prefer the Alistair to have 6 kills personally. Unfortunately, lumbered in this situation, and now with the Bloodthirst, it's even harder to kill this Siva. And that's the thing, that extra AD is just going to come in so useful, already at 70% crit. The thing is, we're getting to a point, like, there's like different levels of being fed, right? And this is the point where it's no longer about whether or not you can kill the Sivir. It's about whether your gap closer is quick enough to survive the 2 auto attacks that will kill you before you can get on the Sivir.
And, I mean, that's the thing. Scudzy has his ult. And, I mean,
here we go. Shogun may be caught out here. This could be what MnM need to actually survive this situation, but once again, Frappy's ult just coming up absolutely huge. That did cost 2 ultimates for Enclave, though. Maybe looking for the re-engage. Both solo laners not really with the team right now, but maybe they just don't need the Frappy has serious damage. Kerberos now arriving on the situation. Only Angel, very, very tanky right now, but will slowly but surely start to go down. There's the ultimate coming through from Kerberos as well. There is a kills galore for the solo laners. Tivity will survive, but his base will not.
Oh, wow. My eyes were just watching Jokerism. I mean, credit to him, he was trying to position as well as he could, but Frappy's Boomerang Blade just smacking him for these 400 crits. You can't get near it at all. And it looks like Enclave are just going to push for the finish here. Nothing that Tivity can do being zoned off by Paris.
Yeah, I love that from Paris. He's just like, okay, I'll just stop this recall so there's no wave clear whatsoever, and we'll just take a nice, easy 31-30 game. What a performance coming out from Enclave. We've been saying how they've been improving week on week. Things started to look good at the very beginning of the game for MnM.